And you're live on Dead Radio.
Welcome to a very special episode of Dead Radio.
Special.
We have the founder of the premium lifestyle brand Dead. We're sitting with Bangy's Dead, and we're going to chop it up a little bit about who he is, where he comes from, how he got into fashion, and where he is right now.
Cool. What's up? How you doing?
Good?
I'm easy. Apparently, my name is Bangy. It's good. How you doing, man? You good?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Right.
Let's start with the origin story. Where are you from?
Where am I from?
Are you from Mafikeng or are you from Pretoria? Which one is it?
Born in Pretoria. Stayed in Pretoria for about 4 years.
Okay.
4 years. If not, no, I'm lying. Stayed in Pretoria till I was, I think, 5. And then I moved to Mafikeng. Stayed in Mafikeng till I was in grade 3.
Okay.
Then from Mafikeng moved to Midrand in Joburg. And yeah, that's where everything just started happening. But I would say I really grew up in Pretoria because I used to go back to Pretoria every
Even when
weekend.
you lived in Mafikeng?
Yeah, every weekend we used to go back in Mamelodi, yeah.
I wanted to ask you, what do you think it is about Pretoria? Because Pretoria right now is running youth culture in South Africa.
I mean,
what do you think it is about Pretoria? Is it the water? What makes Pretoria stand out and the people who come from Pretoria?
I think people in Pretoria are obsessed with domination.
Okay.
Like, we like to dominate whatever we're into, and it's not necessarily for everyone outside. It's just mainly based for who we are as people. Like, we just want to own that shit. Like, we want to own it to a certain degree. So your ambitions are attached to that, just to own shit or to just dominate it as far as it goes.
Okay. Yeah, because Pretoria is dominating right now.
100%, but it's been for the past, we can easily say decade. If we look at like everyone that's ever been something, there's always been a Pretoria element to it.
Yeah, to it.
You know, from the brands, from the artists, to probably photographers are ones that are breaking into it now. But there's always been an element to Pretoria everywhere, especially like in the event space.
Okay, cool. So you lived in Mafikeng until grade 3, and then you moved to Joburg.
Yeah, Midrand. I don't think Midrand falls under Joburg, but
Well,
Joburg and Pretoria, same thing.
What type of kid were you?
I was a naughty kid.
Were you a naughty kid?
I don't lie, I was a naughty kid, but my dad kind of, I knew I was a different, I knew how to play. Like different people to different people that I had to play with, you know what I mean? Like my dad knew me as a good kid, and the teachers knew me as this fucking naughty guy who's with the principal every week. But when the principal calls my dad in to sit my dad down, my dad is like, yo,
what?
Talk about my son. No, not
never.
that guy. He did that, so my dad was always that guy that like, he would always vouch for me. So the teachers would never call my mom. It was my dad. I always knew that like.
Are you similar to your siblings, or are you the odd one out?
I'm the odd one out.
Have you always known that?
Yeah, because I've got 2 siblings. One older, one younger, both women or girls, whatever you may say. And obviously they have like conversations. I'm just there.
The odd one out.
Yeah, that's why I'm a very quiet person, because it's just like...
Interesting.
I'm used to being in a space where I'm not standing out. But I'm actually forced to stand out, because in order for me to get what I want, I have to kind of do backflips as my sisters. It's a bit easier because they can advocate for each other. Like, yo, no, she does deserve this. Then to me, it's just like, I have to put the phones forth. No, I actually need to have that.
So where does style for you begin? Where does your story or love with fashion and style begin? Does it begin from home? Is it something you picked up outside? Where does it actually come from?
So, I won't lie, from home, yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say style, but there's taste.
There's
like
taste.
My parents have taste. I can give them that. My dad has taste. My mom has taste. My mom and dad had style because I mean, when you married or when they were married, like
It was
obviously
in sync.
exactly. If I'm
Okay.
buying this, I'm getting you something else that can match my fly type thing.
Okay. Okay.
So I kind of took it from there, and having a specific image was always a thing.
Okay.
And it wasn't even for everyone else. It's just like, yo, our house needs to look like this, our cars need to look like that, our going out speeds need to look like this.
The
Like everything
couch
was
needs
very
to
much
match.
orchestrated 100%.
I
Like
get you.
we had a sitting room where the sitting room looked like its own vibe, and then that's always been a thing. So I think I got that taste, or
From
that
home.
understanding of the different levels of taste from home.
So let me ask you this. A lot of people say style can't be taught. What do you think about that?
It's debatable.
It's debatable.
It's debatable because style can't be taught, but it can rub off on you. It's
Yeah.
like, almost like ambition. Like you can't actually teach someone to be ambitious.
Okay.
But being around an ambitious person can also kind of make you ambitious, because them wanting something and them always talking about what's the next big thing that they need to do with their lives can rub off on you, and can also be like, yeah, actually, I need to be also going for my shit. So, like, I wouldn't say it can be taught, but it is something that can definitely rub off on you.
Okay. Okay.
But it's either you got it or you don't. No cap.
That is true. That is
It's like
true.
taste. It's either you got it or you don't.
Okay. So from you learning style in your home, I want to ask you something. I heard that when you were younger, you actually wanted to design cars.
Yeah.
How does that even come about?
I used to consume a lot of F1, man, which is really weird that I watch
Even
it
now, you still love cars.
I do,
Yeah.
but it only came back now. Like I had forgotten about my love for cars. Like it would be that thing that I subconsciously catch on. Oh, there's a new car that's about to drop. There's a new car that drops. But growing up, I was heavily into F1. My dad, he was growing up like a car guy. Like every car he got was a car.
You got it from him.
He picked. Like it's not like he got it because he had to, because of circumstances. Nah, every car he got was hand-picked. That like, okay, now this is the car that I'm getting because I'm doing this and that. That's the color I want. This is how the interior should look. Like this is the rims I want. Like everything was very intentional.
And then from that went into you wanting to design cars at that time?
Yeah, I just watched a lot of F1, man. I watched a lot of F1.
But what made you believe?
I used to
collect as a black kid.
That's why I stopped designing. Because I used to collect speed and sounds, but then it got to a point I was just like, I don't have a point of reference of a black man designing a car.
A car, yeah, exactly.
And I was young, you know what I mean? Like, I realized at a late stage, and I'm like, dude, actually, where do I even begin?
Yeah. Who do I even talk to about?
What do I even do to start designing cars? And that's where it rippled into sketching sneakers.
Okay.
I don't even, and the point of reference for sketching sneakers was seeing your G units, sneakers, or seeing
Escada,
like your Pharrell, exactly. Seeing a lot of sneakers, and you're like, okay, that's a point of reference. Maybe this is more plausible. You know what I mean? This is something that's more attainable than like designing cars. So then I started sketching like sneakers, but the point of reference I used
were you re-sketching sneakers, or were you reimagining sneakers?
I was doing what Bape was doing. Because that's when Bape was like when I was sketching shoes, like that's when Bape was Bape.
Okay.
The Bape with the Air Force One silhouette, and they're just adding a star. So I used to carry on that concept. I'll sketch any shoe that I can kind of sketch, then adding my own
twist to
it. Either my own branding or own anything, just not the tick or the star.
Okay. And then let's move on to high school. How was high school? What type of kid were you in high school? Were you still the naughty kid from primary school? Did you take that with you?
Nah, high school I got over it real quick, man. In high school, I think what happened in high school, I think I got mature. You know, got mature, grade 8, got mature, was more about my own thing. So in high school, I only really had like one real friend, like one person that would come to my house, I'd go to their house, one person, but that's like within the school. Then outside I had like maybe 2, 3 friends. But it was never like, I'm the most popular guy in school. Nah, because I don't know, being an only child is kind of, not only, being the middle child has made me private. So I didn't like where you
Okay.
tell someone something and then
And
the
then
whole
it
school
moves.
knows. Like, that was
Okay.
very, that was a new thing to me. Like, whereas,
Okay.
like, you tell one person something, the next
then it
thing
just
it's a
moves.
rumor. It's like, what the fuck? Like, they told
Okay.
one person. So,
So
yeah,
you were super private.
super private. Only had really one friend. There's only one friend that really, really knew what I was about.
Okay. Okay.
So I was a very, I'm a funny guy, man. You had a lot of jokes in high school.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plenty.
Yeah. Okay. And then I believe you started selling sneakers or jeans?
Yeah, both.
Both.
Yeah.
How? Just for the money, or was it for the love of the flip? How does that even happen?
So my parents used to buy me clothes, and they used to buy from Stutterford's, which was back then like where you could get like high-end shit.
Yeah.
Back in that time, like your Tommy Hilfiger.
That was the high-end
Your Polo.
space, yeah.
You know, and when Polo was big back then, so you got the Polo golf shirt, you know what I mean?
I get you.
So at some point when I got in high school, my parents stopped doing that. Like,
I get you.
now I'm into the motion of looking fly, but I
But
don't
you don't have the access.
access anymore. It's been
I
taken
get
away.
you. I get you. I get you.
So I don't even know how it started, but I think it started by me inquiring to buy sneakers from one of these guys that used to sell. And then I was mad on the internet. So I knew the real price. And these guys were selling at a low price. I was like, what? At that time, I can't afford it. But what I used to do is I used to get pocket money, but I wouldn't spend it. So I'd buy like Doritos every lunch. So that was like my lunch.
That was your lunch in high school?
Yeah, like R5. Then the rest of the money, I keep it. I save the money.
Okay.
For clothes, I just save it. And then I started selling sneakers.
Okay.
So how I started selling sneakers, met that one plug, gave me a price, and I just used to sell them for double. Me knowing the real price, and double wasn't even
100% profit.
double wasn't even the. It still didn't get the retail value, the double. You know what I mean? So I
Okay.
still knew whoever was buying it knew that they was getting it at like a good price.
Okay.
So shoes I used to sell was like Air Force One, Creative Recreations. Babes are very
Babes?
rare still in the market.
Okay.
Like, I don't know how Gabe capped the replica market, but it was very hard to get like not fake, but a replica
Of
or
the
even
Babe.
a real Babe shoe.
At that time.
At that time, there was maybe selected stores, but it was not a thing like the Air Force Ones. You could get an Air Force One anyway, just like today.
How are you finding out about these brands?
Online.
Are you
And rappers.
Oh, okay.
Your Lil Wayne's,
Okay.
your Kanye West, I won't lie, your Pharrell. Pharrell really pushed the ice cream thing, BBC.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's basically where that whole era came from. The baggy jeans,
Yeah.
wearing formal with the cardigan,
Colorful
colorful
golf
with the
shirts.
Kanye West glasses. That really
Yeah.
all came from that era. Even the VZ jeans. So yeah, I found a plug. I had a market, sold them, but I didn't sell it for the money because I wasn't there yet. Like, dude, I was like, didn't really have to hustle for the money. I
get
just
you.
used the money. So if you buy a shoe, I'll just buy myself one. With the same bag.
I get you.
So if you buy a jean, the markup is double. I
Then
get
you just
myself.
buy yourself a
That's
jean.
it. So it wasn't like a thing of
It was
up capital.
It was a system you created to stay fly
100%.
and have money in your pocket.
pretty much.
Okay. So when do you start because correct me if I'm wrong, didn't start as a brand.
Nah,
Break down that story to me.
fucking long story.
Yeah.
I can break it down. They didn't start a brand. So after university, after high school, I went to Tux.
Yeah.
But on the last year of university, during that holiday, bumped into these other homies from Pretoria.
Okay.
Met these homies from Pretoria from a girl that used to be a very close friend of mine in my estate, right?
Okay.
She introduced me to these guys, and she kept on telling me, you should be chilling with those guys, because these guys are maybe a
Like-minded.
bit slow, dog. And
Yeah.
you're like, always on the next
Fast,
shit.
yeah,
like,
yeah.
She always used to tell me, and this one time she had a party at her house, and these guys were there. And how I met these guys for the first time, the party, it got late, the party ended, and these guys took all the girls.
Crazy.
And how they took all the girls. They took all the girls on trips. Like, they had one car.
What do you mean? Oh,
they took 5 girls, went to the new location, came back,
picked up more girls.
Went to the new location, picked up, and obviously no niggas was going there.
Yeah, you guys aren't invited.
Nah. So that's when I saw that. I was like, this is
who are these bros?
Yeah, this is a new motion. Like, I ain't never seen it like this. You guys are so, like, you guys are, you're very moving. Sure. You're very sure that you're taking all these acts.
Yeah, move it.
Okay, cool. End up talking to one of the guys, and then he ends up inviting me to, what's that thing that used to happen at Tux?
Rage?
In Hatfield. No. It's like a rage, but it's like, do you guys know that? That thing that used to happen in Pretoria, man. Every time when new students come in.
Freshers.
Where they close Hatfields, the road, and...
Yeah, that make that whole...
100%. Yeah. He invited me to that, and I went to his house the first time. When I go down, we 19, or I'm 19, you know? Yeah. I go to my sister's boyfriend with my sister, dropped me off at this guy's house. First time I'm in this side of Pretoria, because you understand, like, my only reference to Pretoria is Mamelodi and mainland. I don't know Pretoria East like that.
Okay.
Go to Pretoria East. When I get to Pretoria East, they drop me at this guy's house now. These guys are in a house. They're waiting for one of their friends to come with a car, but they're already there in one car. Now I'm confused. I don't know
what's happening here.
Young niggas just like, you know what I'm saying? We were in a whip. I'm like, okay, cool. Sharp, get there. Now these guys are like, nah, before we go here, you need to pick up girls. Then one of them is like, nah, dog, nah, we're not picking up anyone. We'll find them there. So now I'm waking up to all of this now, and I'm going to a house party. After that, I meet these guys, but now we chill.
Now you guys are hanging out more.
Yeah, after that day, kind of keep silent for a while, and then I move into Tux. As I move into Tux, I hit up the homie again, like, yo, I'm staying in Pretoria now, we should link up. He says I should pull up tomorrow. And I pull up tomorrow. Now they go to one of the homies' house, Don, right? And these guys had a photo shoot.
Yeah.
Now I'm surprised, a photo shoot, like, the fuck? Now these guys are getting dressed in vintage clothes, what. Because I'm there, I'm like,
fuck it.
Yeah, and they had like a brotherhood where like, your clothes is my clothes. Like, it wasn't like it's my clothes, I only wear it, like, they shade, like.
I get you. You
do this one photo shoot, dog, the photo shoot gets big, dog. And the only platform there was Twitter and Tumblr. Tumblr and Facebook.
Yeah.
That shit
blew up.
Goes viral.
Okay.
And I mean, like,
super viral.
It wasn't even WhatsApp statuses, like WhatsApp DPs viral.
Crazy.
Like, people have us as DPs viral. Like,
so what, this was just a random shoot that you guys did?
I wasn't meant to be there type thing. They just bumped into a photographer and they decided to
do the shoot right
there.
Yeah,
we go to this guy's house, we do the shoot.
Crazy.
And it goes, bro, I mean, viral.
Okay.
Viral.
What happens in that moment? What do you guys start thinking? What's the conversation? Do you guys even care, or you guys are just
like...
don't
give a fuck. Well, I did, but they didn't. For them, it's just like, they're part of the movement. Like, getting more girls now, parties are inviting us. Like,
and is this Vinny Boys?
Yes, Vinny Boys.
Okay.
Cool. After that, now I've gone the back end, and I see what's going on. And I see these guys are kind of nonchalant about it. And I don't know why my mind was there, but I started to curate the shoots now. I started to tell them, okay, guys, we're shooting at this place, then this is when we're doing it. And then that's when Galaxy was also really bubbling under.
Okay.
Hard.
So this is 2012, 11?
Yeah, nah, 2016, bro. 2016, 17. And now Galaxy was bubbling under, like real crazy under.
It's moving in Pretoria.
Yeah, everyone went to a fuck VIP, you know, we get there, it's happening, you know, same thing goes. Then I see a opportunity. So I end up hitting up this homie, Tots. I'm like, yo, we're from this band called We the Vinny Boys, just trying to do a shoot. Fine, did that shoot. He gave us the clothes. I found a scrapyard in Mamelodi, had this other homie, KG, shoot it, KG from Lysoft. And that also, obviously, now because we're doing it at the brand that's also bubbling under, it also goes viral.
It goes super viral.
It also goes viral. Now, questioning who the fuck are these kids?
Yeah.
Type thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then from there, I'm the one who was posting on Tumblr. I'm the one who was posting like, I can't say on Facebook, but on Facebook. Because we were all posting in our own ways. But
yeah, but you...
I'm the one that was posting it on Tumblr. I'm the one that opened the Tumblr page, Vinny Boys. Because I was just seeing Tumblr really also doing its thing. And at that time, that was the only picture sharing platform.
Yeah,
Instagram was there, but Tumblr was Tumblr.
Yeah. When Tumblr was on, Tumblr was
like when you get reshares on Tumblr, like you got reshares.
Do it, you move it.
Yeah, so that shit started popping, and then like shit just happened, and then niggas, when they split ways a couple of years after, obviously you doing that, not you doing that, but now Ego started, obviously.
I feel that.
Obvious thing, Ego started, but before even the Ego started, Didi, people might know him as Live at the Same, while this was all happening, because he was part of the system, while this was all happening, he had already pivoted into Joburg.
Okay, so he had moved from...
He would go from Pretoria to Joburg.
Okay.
So that's how, even in Joburg, we were known at that point.
Okay.
So then he bumped into Stilo, who was known as Chalk, or we know him as Chalk, who was moving water at that time. And then he used to give him water.
Product. Okay.
Then he comes to us.
And
because
then you
your
guys
clothes
are
are not your clothes alone.
We're sharing them.
And then that would get hot. Then water then Dodo, who's known as Nokana, would now move with Didi to Joburg, and then he would still come back. And then they would now curate their own shoots.
Okay.
But it would
still under Vinny Boys, or...
I would say it's still under Vinny Boys, because at the same time, them doing their own shoots really amplified us as a team. This one, because when they started doing their own shoots, this is when Instagram was Instagram now. Cool, these guys do that. After they do that, now we go all split ways. I leave Tux, got a gap year.
Sorry, pin in that. What were you studying in Tux?
Civil engineering, dude. I don't know how. The thing is, it wasn't my decision, but I really just wanted to get into university.
Okay.
Like at that point, it was just like...
It wasn't about the degree, it was about
it was just like, yo, I'm going to do anything I can get into right now.
Civil engineering, that's crazy though. Like...
That's why I left Tux, because I didn't have a passion for it. Like, everything just felt like a drag, dog. Like, yo, I have to study this thing, and I caught on, but I won't lie. I could have did it, but I think I chose not to put all my energy in it. And also, Vinny Boys was happening around that time. Like, when it's time for me to study, my friends are calling me, yo, dog, we had Hatfield. I used to live like 5, 7, 10 minutes away from Hatfield. So it's like, oh, you guys are there. And Uber wasn't Uber there.
Pulling out.
So like, I'm either walking or one of them doesn't mind coming to scoop me.
Okay.
So now I'm even slacking because now I'm moving in the scene now.
Yeah, because now also doing civil engineering and like
doesn't
moving
connect
in the streets.
Yeah, where I wake up the next day at like 9. I'm at my friend's house. I'm thinking about going back to Tux because I used to live in the east in Hatfield. I need to take a taxi. It's like
a headache.
Nah, dog.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you can continue.
So the next move, everyone's just doing their own thing. I just think also because of ego, people just thought that like they don't really have to move as a unit anymore.
Yeah.
So all of us ended up doing our own thing.
Ego seems to be a huge thing in a lot of collectives.
Yeah.
That breaks a lot of things up. What do you think is the best way to avoid that?
I think it...
Because we're all plagued by ego.
Yeah, but I think it broke our union up because we didn't have an end goal. Like, it's not like the end goal was to make money.
Ah, I get you.
We were just moving.
I get you.
It wasn't like, yo, dog, we all want to be living in mansions. Like, one of the guys, the rich guy, the other guys, we were all really, like, from good backgrounds. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, one is a rich guy, like, there's no aspiration of, yo, we're going to ball out. Like, yeah, this thing's going to take us... Plus, we had no point of reference.
I get you.
Of this thing becoming a big thing.
I get you.
So, at some point, but before we even broke up, I think I'm jumping, before we broke up, bumped into a guy called Lala. Lala's Nakana's cousin.
Okay.
And BK's cousin, a very close friend of mine, and he was making clothes.
Okay.
They introduced us to this guy, Now is the first time you see someone assembling a piece.
Was he printing
He was
t-shirts?
just a seamstress. Nah, he was just making clothes from scratch.
Oh, crazy.
You know, we go to Soweto, we meet this guy, we end up making our own outfits.
Okay.
This shit goes wild. No, not wild, but like, now in my mind, at that point it's like, oh, so I can actually make what's
clothes.
Going on in my brain.
I get you.
Okay, fine.
And before that, you guys didn't have a reference at all?
No. Fine, we let it go. Then after that, I meet Tots. And Tots, that's when he opened the Galaxy store, and I meet him again, because obviously we familiarized with each other, because you know what I do.
From that shoot,
I meet him again in Hatfield, he opened a store. Shit is dope. So thing was still bubbling. Fine, we end up going our separate ways. I go to UJ now, live in Mill Park, and that's when I start just designing. This is where I start making clothes with this Lala homie.
And now is that designing like Photoshop? Are you sketching?
Nah, I was like telling him what I wanted to be on a garment. Like I want the zip to be here, and because we used to do it together hand in hand, I could literally tell him where I wanted everything
so you were creative directing?
Yeah, you could say
basically.
That. Yeah. So I used to tell him, yo, I wanted this to be there, I want this to be there, I want this to be there, like this, with this fabric. Then I got into that, then I got into making the clothes like that. But the cash that I got is fine. It was moving. But when I look back today, when I look at that time, because I sold some of the items, but they weren't sellable items.
What do you mean by that?
Like, they weren't items I could remake on a large scale.
Okay.
Like, they were good items, but they weren't items I could, like...
Mass produce
because of just how technical it was. It wouldn't make financial sense to mass produce those items.
All those items, okay.
But obviously I didn't know that at that point in time. I only learned that later. But going through the phases where now I'm trying to make each piece for each person, blah, 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 blah. Still going to UJ. And then there's this one day...
So, wait.
Yeah.
You move from Tux, you go to UJ.
After a gap year, yeah. I went to some architectural drafting school where they taught us like how to use all the softwares, AutoCAD, Photoshop, etc., etc., etc.
So from civil engineering to architecture, how and why? Was it the same reason you picked civil engineering, or was it just something you were just like, let me pick something?
I actually didn't mind doing architecture.
Okay.
And my dad also was the spearhead, obviously. I was like, because he's an educated man, like many degrees.
Yeah.
He was like, basically in a nutshell, he said, Doug, you can't just do nothing.
Yeah. You got to figure it out.
Yeah, like even when I told him that civil engineering is not happening, it's not working, they didn't say, yo, Doug, come sit at home, we'll make a plan. He's like, nah, no. Well, apply at UJ. Even for me to get into UJ, I know this might be one of those podcasts where people misinterpreted guys. It was like ages ago. But my dad knew someone in there. Like, I submitted my
corrupt shit
application late. And after a week, I was...
you got in?
Yeah, I didn't do all the submissions like everybody.
Okay.
Had a meeting with the HOD. Damn. Niggas
That's
get
crazy.
fired over this.
That's crazy.
I had a meeting directly with the HOD. And I didn't even submit anything, all my marks or anything like that. He was just like, yo, pull up with your portfolio. Okay. So now I had to go home because everyone had the same thing to submit. So then I had to sketch all that stuff. I sketched it, blah, blah, blah. Week later, I was admitted. Obviously, I had to fill it in.
Damn.
So my architectural drafting, though, what I did the year before, that aided
getting in.
Yeah, because it showed that I do have
An
architectural background.
Yeah.
And I did go to the UP to do civil, even if I didn't finish. And here's my matric marks. So it's not like they let me slide through. I just didn't stand in line.
I get you.
You know, it's like you're outside the club and there's a long line, but you know the guy at the
door.
Just and then you just get
in. Okay.
That's basically what happened.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so that's how I went to UK. But yeah, then started designing, find out Mill Park. The guy that helped me come up with the name, I probably said this a lot of times, the guy that let me come up with the name was Tots.
That helped you come up with the name did?
Yeah, not necessarily come up. Like, I told him that I wanted to start a brand, and based on him seeing the designs that I was posting online that are not branded, he said, what name would I call it? At that point in time, I thought I was, cause at that point in time, the word living was a thing. Like when you're doing shit, you're living.
Yeah.
So I said, I felt like I was dead until my relevance to the world proves otherwise. So I used to just write dead everywhere. So when he asked me, yo, so what brand would you call?
What would you call your brand?
What would you call your brand?
Yeah.
The first thing that came to my head is dead. That's the first thing that came to my head.
Okay.
And just from there, I ran with it. Like I ran with that, and then the first thing I used was I embroidered a cap. That's the first product
that you ever made
branded
with
dead was a cap.
And what was it? A logo? Was it a typography?
Nah, not it was even Arial, bro. Like the name was just straight dead.
Okay. With the full stop or without?
With the full stop. Full stop been there.
So the full stop's always been there?
Yeah.
What's the meaning behind the full stop?
I haven't been to school in a long time. I forgot the word.
Because you're super precise about there always being...
The full stop, because the full stop means it's done. Like when you put a full stop to a sentence, the sentence is done. When we're starting a new sentence, it goes hand in hand with dead. Like when you're dead, you're done.
Yeah, it's
That's
finished.
why the full stop has to be there, because
Brilliant.
It kind of goes hand in hand. It's like one and the same thing.
Brilliant.
You get what I mean? Like it's really one and the same thing.
Okay. So you make your first cap,
Yeah.
embroider it, and then what happens?
Still designing, but now my friends live in Bram. I live in Mopark. The Lala homie is in Bram now. Still making clothes, designing, but then embroidery is still not a way of branding for me. So I start using paint. Like I start using paper stencils.
Okay.
I write the word dead and I paint it over with fabric paint, and that's just
how it
develops. And then I want to jump because there's a really one defining moment of like this whole time that made dead like a real thing. And the defining moment when I made some other kimonos. I made like a kimono, but it looked like a coat.
Okay.
So it's a coat like that you strap like on the side, and that coat. This one day, so what we used to do, because for the coffee brand was still for the coffee. Like, if you look
that's
fly,
where basically...
Yeah, if you look fly from on campus, because we used to look fly on campus. When you look fly from campus,
that's where you
catch
guys
a taxi, you go to Brown. Because it's like one taxi, you get to Brown, go to Father Coffee, chill around there. Went to Father Coffee, and funny enough, Malum's was there, okay? Malum Kukat was there, and Disetso, forgot his surname, but Ibn Masadi was also there.
Okay.
I didn't know these people like that. Like I knew Malum, but I didn't know Disetso like that.
Is this Malum? Is he popping? Is this?
Yeah, he's Malum now. Like chilling in Brown Malum. Like probably like this is maybe about 2018, 2019,
Nah, he's blown.
Or early 2019.
Yeah.
And these people are crying over my coat.
Okay.
Like they're crying over my coat. Like they're basically saying, "Yo, we gotta have this.
I need this.
I need this. Let me take your number."
Okay.
These guys.
Was that the only one you had made, or were there more?
That's the only. I used to just make clothes for myself.
Okay.
That's how it started. It was always for myself.
Okay.
These guys are crying. I mean, crying, bro.
They really wanted it.
Take my number down. I make them, and after I make them, and I also started selling caps, and I gave it to them. It even blew. That's when the brand actually blew.
So was the kimono the first clothing
sold.
item sold by Dead?
Yes and no. No, because some of the items I sold were not branded. Yes, because that was the first branded item.
Okay.
And that's the first item that actually really had a high demand, but I couldn't feed the demand.
Okay.
Because I was not in that state of mind.
Space,
Nah.
To
Massive was
even
not a
make that
thing.
happen.
Like making money is not a thing, dude. Like I was in high school, I was in university, I'm living in an apartment that my parents pay for. I get pocket money,
So you were good.
Getting
You
an
were just
extra
like-
buck was not really like on my head. Just like,
get you.
it was this dope thing. These people want to buy it.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
if you
I'll just sell
insist,
it to
I'll sell it to you. How much is it gonna be?
Yeah.
Brands are selling at premium price at that point in time.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'll give you a premium price, and I sold it at a premium price. And
Crazy.
everything happened after that, and probably like a month or a couple of months after that, probably 6 to 7, 8 months. Now I had a lot of orders. Now
People are ordering.
Yeah, people
How
are-
are they ordering?
in person, even on campus, like, because I used to fly every day. I used to be dead every day on campus, like, but people would be like, yo, I need that. I need that. People always say I need that. So my first orders really came from campus.
Okay.
My first orders really came from campus.
And it was just very organic. People just seeing your
to go to
face.
Fada. Like Fada was like that was probably the first art faculty at
UJ, yeah.
So everyone there was fashionably inclined or graphically inclined, just creatively inclined.
Yeah.
So they used to understand all my fits. And some wanted it, some inquired about it, like, why are you dressed like that? Like, what's... So they knew I was that guy on Fada.
And from there's when you started mass producing.
Yeah, but... So I remember there was a year, in the year, we're writing exams, and I have to make a decision. And the decision I make, or have to make is, yo, are you going to that class, or are you making these products for this order?
Which is the architecture class.
Yeah,
basically.
architecture, studying architecture.
Okay.
And now, it's one of those classes where it's a defining moment, where this is a class you need in order
to pass.
To go to, so there's this thing they call crit. So what you do, crit is basically, instead, we didn't have exams. We only had exams for like our, what's the word? Can't say verbal. For our written.
Yeah, practical.
No, not practical.
Not practical.
The other one, opposite of practical.
Theory.
Theory. Only read exams for theory.
Okay.
Practicals, you have to showcase. So when it's a practical exhibition, every student, if we're all students in here, we're all showcasing our works like this.
Yeah.
And there's 6, 7 teachers that come look at your shit, and they shit on you. I mean, shit. That's what they call it, a crit. They shit on you.
Critical
like,
analysis.
what were you doing yesterday in class when you did this? Tell us the reason for this foundation. Like, that type of shit. Like, you had to have a reason for everything you did.
Yeah.
Literally, I did this because my building has 3 stories, and the foundation needs to be deeper, blah, 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 blah.
Everything needs to have a reason.
100%. So I couldn't go to the class before that stuff. And that's when I decided I'm not going to do architecture anymore.
So you dropped out in that moment?
In that moment, yeah. Then I went to go make clothes.
Do you call your dad? Did you tell any of your siblings?
I knew my parents weren't going to take it.
Yeah.
So end up, now I have to move back home. But before I moved back home, I ended up staying at my friend's house because he stayed in the same building. He had a much bigger apartment. So I'm just like, yo, I would have crashed here till I sort shit out.
Okay.
Ended up getting a tattoo, ended up cutting my hair weird, ended up getting a chain, ended up doing like a lot of crazy shit.
It was a rebirth, basically.
Yeah, I did a lot of shit. Like this 93 tattoo, I got it like...
In that moment.
Oh, sorry, my brother. We gonna keep that. This 93, I kept it during that time. During that time, I got my first chain. I made a jeweler, made me a chain. Like, yeah, that was a thing now. I have submersed myself in this.
So really, that's really where it began.
That's a defining moment, yeah.
Yeah.
That's where everything happened.
Okay, so you're staying at your friend. What are you doing at that time? Like,
I think I was going through a depressive episode.
Yeah.
Because I didn't
when you
know,
look back at it now.
Yeah, I didn't know life outside of school, dude.
Yeah,
like now it's the question is, what was I gonna do? Where do I start?
Yeah.
Who do I talk to?
Yeah.
Like, what actually happens now? Like, this is happening, but what happens?
Now, yeah.
And I figured it out within that space because everyone there was really doing the same own thing. One guy's a musician, other guy goes to school, but he's got other things happening, like...
So it was a little creative hub.
Yeah, kind of sort of. Then Uber Eats popped out, and now Uber Eats is a thing, and the promo codes, like we were living on promo codes. Yeah.
Yo, I finessed Uber Eats when it came out.
Yeah.
Like I got like 20 free meals.
Bro,
shout out to Uber Eats.
We lived on Uber Eats for probably like 4 or 5 months, even 6.
Jesus. Okay, you guys were abusing it.
I'm not kidding. Like, 4 people, like people just thought we had money. It's just like, well, like...
A lot of people finesse.
You have someone Uber over and you're like, yo, what do you want to eat? Like, what do you mean? Nah, don't worry.
Don't worry about it. Yeah.
So that's what it was. Like, even because no one really had money around that time. I think, I wasn't cut off as yet at that time. I wasn't cut off. I was still getting that...
Cut off from
my
support from
pocket
your...
money. Yeah. My parents still thought I was in school, dude. That's the thing. Like...
So you drop out...
I didn't tell anyone.
Jeez, for how long?
At the end of the year, obviously, someone has to say something.
Yeah,
there's no report card.
There's no report card. What's going on?
Yeah, like, what's good? So that's what happened. Like,
Okay.
I remember I invited my dad to draws there by Campus Square, sat him down. I was like, hey,
This is what's really
this cool
popping.
thing, man, I don't think it's going to happen like that.
And what does he say in that moment?
He was like, what are you going to do? He's just like, yo, what are you going to do?
Sounds like your dad allowed you to become who you want to be and didn't necessarily tell you who you
Nah, he was
need
forced,
to
dude.
be.
I just came from 3 tertiaries, bro. Like, after the third one, I'm telling you that I'm not doing it anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I won't like, even if I was a parent, like, what do I tell this kid?
Yeah, because it's like, bro, what do you mean?
You've clearly made up your mind. That's what I'm going to do. I'm saying, dude, I'm doing this
Fashion
clothing thing. I think that's where I'm going to go into. I don't like, looked at me like I was crazy. He's like, no, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, I'm sure he was like, bro, fashion. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
like,
now what we're doing is he's telling me I can work at Clicks, sort out. I'm just like, yo, that's not part of my plan, dog.
okay.
That's not part of my plan. Clicks
Okay.
is not part of my plan. But this happened like ages after Tux. Because, yo, just a lot happened, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, get that. Then it gets to a point where I end up getting an apartment. Like the steps of this brand were really like so. That's why I'm still doing it, because how things have panned out
Yeah.
was really me just like taking a bite of something that is far bigger than what I can chew.
Okay.
But some way, somehow, I could swallow some of what
What you're chewing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because after this whole ordeal where now my dad's like, yo, okay, you do your thing.
Go figure it out.
Yeah, but now I know I can't stay at home. End up getting an apartment. Some friend of mine ends up giving me her bank statements, because obviously I don't have a job. I don't have a credit score.
Yeah.
To
And
apply
you
for
need
apartment.
those 3 months to get an apartment.
Those 3
months.
months. This friend of mine's like, nah, don't worry. I'll hold you down. She gave me her bank statements because I told her I can make it happen.
Okay.
Funny enough, I bumped into a lady of someone who was around us during Vinnie Boys. Like, not even like a friend. He was a friend of Nokana. His name is Junior. He was a friend of Nokana. And this homie's mom is just like, yo, I want you to basically oversee my kid, because I'm not overseeing that sense, but I see you doing your thing with this clothing thing, and this kid says he's into clothes.
So just take him under your wing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I told her, okay, I've got a plan, trying to get this apartment in Mawoneng. I want it to be like a creative hub where I have a bunch of people just in there.
Working on different creative
Rating on different things, but towards the end.
Okay.
And she was like, okay, cool. She gave me like the money for the deposit and the first month rent. Like,
Crazy.
Literally.
Crazy.
Like literally. And before that even got there, I was just looking at apartments. Literally
just trying to figure out.
I was just going to Mawoneng, calling estate agents, going to view apartments. I know I don't have the money. I don't know I'm going to get it.
Yeah. But you're just like, I need an apartment.
Let me see what happens.
Okay.
Let me see what happens. Cool. Kind lady ends up giving me the rack.
So now you're living in Maboneng.
Yeah.
You have this apartment.
Now, yeah, that's when Mawoneng was on a come up. It was still a place now.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of artists
are moving in
around
that
that space.
Okay.
And they wanted Dead. Because Dead was also coming. That's when the Karma hoodie actually dropped. That's when a lot of our items that were like staple items dropped.
Okay.
And then that's how I'm familiar with a lot of artists. They used to come into my place
to come buy clothes.
Because that was the store. So they would come in, get the store, and that's how the name even moved a bit forward.
Okay.
And then I met Boogie. Boogie was extremely interested in the brand Dead. She used to buy a lot of items. She used to come to my place to source. That's when she was styling Speedster. Speedster's already is on SABC. Speedster is on Metro. Speedster's
so
now
now
wearing
the
these
brand
items.
is
now we
being seen mainstream.
100%.
Okay, so you're making clothes at this time. You're building your brand. When do you turn it into a lifestyle brand? And when I say lifestyle, I mean, when do you start realizing that, oh, I can actually take this brand further than just garments?
Dead pop-up party.
Did you drop the Dead orange juice before or?
Nah, that was when
after?
everything was happening. I won't lie, when I used to live in Mawoneng, I just had a big creative balloon. Like I was just like,
Doing.
I was just doing, bro.
Okay.
Like I was just anything I thought made sense to put the brand on, or anything I was consuming that I wanted the brand on, because I wanted to consume what I was making. That's what I was in. I wanted to consume what I was making.
Where does that come from? Is that from maybe watching someone like Nigo with Babe?
Not even.
Because
I don't
at that
know.
time, no one in South Africa had a brand that was beyond just clothes.
I don't know. I really don't know where it came from. I just knew if I'm drinking water, I'm drinking dead water.
I need to be drinking.
If I'm going to be
water.
drinking orange juice now, because I only like 100% juice, it has to be dead orange juice.
Okay.
Like, so where everything happened when I thought I could think of it as the bigger thing, dead pop-up party. Dead pop-up party, the first time it happened was in Cape Town. Cape Town, I went to Cape Town, I think I was on holiday, and my friend gave me this concept. He allowed it to happen in their apartment. Like, they used to live in a commune, and this thing happened over... Dude,
Did you decide, were you like, yo,
we were just
let's
sitting,
throw a pop-up?
and I was like, yo, like, what can you do? And these guys are like, we want to throw a party. I was like, dude, let's call it a day party, because that's when also dead or something come up. A lot of Cape Town had a lot of appetite for dead, right? Dead pop-up party happens. It fucking
Did you sell out all your clothes? Like, how much clothes did you have?
I didn't think I even said. I had a lot of samples. It's just like I think it raised awareness. I probably saw like 2-3 items, but it raised a crazy awareness.
On the brand.
Crazy awareness.
Okay.
People knew about it now.
Okay.
Then I came back and now can't pay my rent. Clothes are not selling how I thought they would be selling.
Yeah.
Now I'm like 3 months before rent. I owe this guy, or my landlord, an amount I've never seen in my life. I've never owed that much money to one
In
person
your life,
in
yeah.
my whole entire existence.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. So
Now that's when Dead Stocks Array comes up. Now I think, okay, we're
I
gonna
need to
pop up.
formalize this.
Yeah,
idea.
we're gonna pop up in different parts of the world, in the country.
Okay.
First, but it wasn't the country. First, it was the city. So we went to Pretoria, Joburg, and Vaal.
Okay.
Each pop up came up with money to pay my rent. Weirdly enough.
Okay. And in that moment, I'm sure you were like,
Let's make this bigger.
let's actually make this bigger.
Yep, still gotta pay my rent, so let's make it bigger.
I get
End
that.
up going to Cape Town again. End up going to Port Elizabeth. End up going to like a lot of different places, man. And the Port Elizabeth trip was a crazy trip because we driving to Port Elizabeth, driving with Nouveau Ox, and they had the car, so I'm driving with them. They were always the guys that. So at that point in time, I was managing them. I was a DJ manager. Imagine.
Crazy.
I'm managing them, and I used to, because I knew people are in the scene, so I could tell them, just book these guys, and for free, just give them 2 drinks, fine. And then they were also DJ at my spots.
Okay.
So we're driving to Port Elizabeth. Bro, I didn't know it was that long. It's 13, 14 hours drive, right?
Jesus. Yeah, PE is far, bro.
Yeah.
Like, it's so far.
On the way there, we end up crashing into a Springbok.
Jesus. The South African national,
The car is
animal.
not total, but the side of the car is fucked up. Oh, load shedding.
So, the pop-up starts.
Yeah, pop-up party ended up doing, but it was mainly, the main aim of the pop-up was really to, the main of the pop-up was really to make rack, like, to pay my rent. Like,
I get
to
you.
pay my rent.
I get you.
I needed to move more product,
Yeah.
different places.
And also cover more ground, I'm assuming.
I only thought about that at a later stage. I
I
wanted
get
to
you.
move product.
Necessity of paying your rent is what gave birth to...
I needed to move product, though. Whatever
Okay.
means necessary.
Okay,
I needed to
okay.
move product. Like,
Okay.
I had to move product. Like,
Okay.
I needed to move product.
Okay,
Or
okay.
else, because I was getting locked out of my apartment, changing my locks. Have to call a locksmith.
Stress.
I
Big
have to
stress.
do, like, different things.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I just had to pay the rent. Cool, that happened. And then, within that time, Dead Radio is still happening. That's how it started.
How does Dead Radio start?
I really don't know. I
Yeah.
think it was more of a thing of I'm meeting different people, and as I meet these different people, I meet different aspirational people, like
Okay.
inspirational people as well.
Okay.
And I just hits me that I just need to talk to these people. You know what I
Okay.
mean? I need
And
to talk
find
to
out
people.
what their story is.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
as I talk to these people, ends up being recorded. I don't even remember who was the first photographer or videographer that I did it with.
Yeah.
But it happened. It happened.
Dead Radio episode 1 is where you guys are in a
Anatomy.
hall?
Anatomy.
Oh, okay.
On anatomy. I was actually given.
And it was like you and 3 other people. Or is that
No,
episode
just
2?
alone. So just alone.
I haven't seen episode
Oh,
1.
no, I should-
Is it still up on
It
YouTube?
should be, yeah, it should
Okay,
be.
cool, cool.
Dropped it at that point. Funny enough, it was before the collab with Anatomy.
Yeah.
I just knew the people in the store.
And you were like, yo, let me use your
Please,
space.
and they allowed it, and it happened.
Okay.
And then that's how that really happened. And then as it developed, I saw this as a really good platform to kind of talk to people
Okay.
and to make people understand what people actually do and what it took for them to get there,
Yeah.
and to also be a point of reference. Because
Ah.
I always recall that back then I could have done different things if I knew the point of reference.
The point of reference,
If I
yeah.
knew that there's a videographer, if I knew that there was a
Even just from when you wanted to design cars as a kid, if
like
you had that
if I
point
had
of
a black-
reference.
if I could see a black South African
I get you.
car designer and him talk about what he studied, how he did it, who he bumped into.
Damn, you actually might have never made clothes if you had that point of reference.
100%.
Yeah, yeah.
100%. Most definitely. So that's what Dead Radio is about. It's just to be a point of reference to like everyone else is trying to do basically what anyone else is doing. That's actually
That was the main goal.
That's the main aspect of it.
Okay.
Basically be, yeah.
Dead has some of the best collaborations that have come out, like in South African. Like,
Apparently.
I think so. Where does that collaboration like spirit come from? Like, because most people are like, especially when you're hot, you're like, I don't really wanna. I don't need anyone.
Yeah, but how long can you be hot for?
That's the thing.
Because then
That's
food
the
gets
thing.
cold.
That's a gem. That's a gem right
How
there.
long can you be hot for even food gets cold? Like, I just always look at collaboration. For me, I looked at it as how musical people do it, how music people do it.
Yeah, like featuring.
They feature people to get a bigger demographic or to get a bigger audience to listen to their music.
Market share. It's all
Like,
about market share.
That's what most of the biggest artists in South Africa do. They, even AKA on his last album, you could see the direction where he wanted his music to go, and that's Upper Africa, because of the kind of collaborators that he got. He collaborated with, what's that homie that's on Amapiano? Lay Lizzy.
Lay Lizzy, yeah.
Lay Lizzy is
Yeah.
the biggest artist in Swaziland.
Yeah.
I mean, in Mozambique.
Yeah, in
You know what I mean?
Mozambique, yeah.
So you can kind of get the idea of where he wanted
The music,
the
to
music
go.
to go, where
Yeah.
he wanted to go as an artist.
Yeah.
So that's how I see collaboration. Like, I see collaboration as you getting into my pocket and me getting into yours,
And making the pie bigger.
making the pie bigger. Because we all talk to different people.
I get that.
We all appeal to different people.
I get that.
Our market is all different people. Even if it might seem the same, but there's the small pieces that aren't the same.
Collaboration, right? Yeah, it's a. Is it fair for me to say that Dead inspired a lot of collaborations that happen in streetwear in South Africa?
I don't want to say that.
Can I say that?
You can. I won't correct you. Next thing I say that, and tomorrow I wake up and they say this guy says he put us on everything.
I say that to say this, right? How, as a creative person, how do you deal with people using your ideas?
I don't deal with them. Ideas is created to live, and the people that know that it came from this one person is the better. If the rest don't, that's fine. But as long as I'm getting my piece from what I'm doing personally, not from them.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, as long as I'm doing my thing, what you do, that's you.
That's on you.
If you run with it, make sure you're a billionaire, that's you.
So when you see other brands or other individuals using your blueprint or...
That's cool.
Okay.
I just know it won't hit like how it hit with us.
Yeah.
Because we have different reasons for doing it.
Yeah.
I think it's all about the intention that you're doing it or the reason. I think it's all based on the reason. You can do a lot of things, but if we don't have the same reason, the outcomes are always going to be different.
Yeah. Okay.
Always going to be different.
So, Pop Up did radio, and then I feel after did radio was moving, the brand and maybe yourself took maybe a step back from putting product out or running and putting stuff out more for maybe a year or a year and a half, maybe 2 years. What was that for? What was going on? Why did that happen?
The real reason behind that is that I realized that I hit the ceiling in terms of how intricate I can be with the detail.
For the brand.
Yeah, and how, like, you know, when you're making, let me say when you're making Apple ish, they're not paying us.
Yeah, no,
yeah,
they're definitely
when you're
not
making
paying.
this pillow,
yeah,
the first time you make this pillow, and it's not durable, and it's not sustainable. Like after a week, it tears.
Yeah.
The first time, because it's your first time, that's understandable.
Yeah.
The second time, when you
then
make it's a
like,
bit durable, but the color now comes off. That's understandable because now you're using a different.
Yeah,
fabric.
it's a different.
But the third time,
you gotta have it right.
I'm expecting to get a 10 out of 10 product. That's at a certain level of quality, and a certain level of durability, and a certain level of, like, what's the word? Life something. Hey man, it needs to be long lasting. That's the way.
Okay.
It must last long.
So is that what you feel was?
I saw that I couldn't do that. I didn't have the infrastructure, or I didn't have the infrastructure around me, or the people that I was communicating with that were doing my things in the past to actually now get to the level of where people have now consumed the brand.
The brand, yeah.
And I can't allow people to consume the brand in the same way when I know that now, because of how conceptual and idealistic we are, we need to be on a better quality level. I couldn't do that at that point in time. Okay. So I needed to go back onto the drawing board to see how I can how I can execute the level of quality required
for the brand
at that point in time.
Yeah.
Like where we are now, the level of quality that we're doing now is only gonna withstand the time period now.
I get you.
Or a certain time period. And then after that period, we're expecting a different
higher level
of quality.
Now. Yeah. Okay. So that time period was for you to just go back to
going back to the drawing board, but I also go back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Go back to the drawing board, but also really look outside the brand. I think I wanted to invest in myself personally as a person now.
Okay.
At the point in time.
Personal development.
Yeah, I put everything into the brand. Every money I was getting was into the brand. Every cent I was getting was into the brand. And as a person, I wasn't gaining any new experiences or any new inspirations, because that is obviously a financial task. That's something that needs money to take in new experiences.
Yeah.
And that's when I decided to really more so invest in Bangy. Let Bangy get a car. Let Bangy move out of his mom's house. Let Bangy get into an apartment so that he can develop and take in a new type of energy which will allow him to create at a higher level.
Okay.
I think as a creative, or I hate the word creative, as a creative person, I think our surroundings determine
it influences, like, definitely.
Surroundings and our infrastructure allows us to produce at a specific level.
Okay.
And the moment we stuck in the same place for too long, you're producing the same ideas. And I always take it back to like piano artists, because that's the first point of reference that I could see. If you can really pay attention, piano artists, their music follows their test level or where they are in life.
So the more they progress.
Yeah, so this guy will start making a song because the speakers, it only sounds good in the speakers in his house.
Yeah.
Then he'll get a car, and then the car can play a specific sound. Now he knows, okay, I need to add more bass so it can sound good in this car. Then he gets another car, and then
he moves into a new apartment with better speakers,
And then
so
now
the
he
sound
created a better
I get you.
level.
I
And the
get you.
perfect person to follow on that,
get you.
a perfect example is Kabza. I know
Yeah.
obvious is an
Yeah.
obvious example, but if you listen to his music, you can hear that he's at a different place than where he was yesterday.
The evolution.
Or in the last project.
The evolution. I get that.
And based on his surroundings, he's at a different person as a person, but now he's traveling. He made this song now at the ocean in front of a beach. And you can hear that.
I get that. Like,
You can hear that.
his
Even the
taste
cars-
is evolving.
Even the car is driving, you can hear that, yeah, this song, he made this song to hear in a car like this. Like there's certain songs you can hear that, hey, this song belongs in a car that's like
I get that.
serious with,
I get that.
surround sound.
I get that.
So
I get
that's
that.
what I think is like a very focal point. It's like I needed to understand that, I've been creating the same place, and I needed to go to a next level to get like a better intake of ideas and energy from my surroundings.
Okay.
So that's what I did for these past years. Started styling, obviously got a main client, Demongoro,
Yeah.
which obviously that also
What do you like more? Creating clothes or styling people in
creating
clothes?
clothes.
Always.
Creating clothes.
So if you could only do one thing.
Creating clothes.
Okay.
It's my opinion when I create clothes.
Yeah.
It's either you like
yeah.
it or you don't. If you don't, someone else will.
Yeah.
When you're styling, if the client doesn't like it, you need to come up with another idea. Even if you think it's dope, you could think it's the best outfit. But if the client doesn't like it, like you gotta go back to the drawing board.
Okay.
So yeah.
That's okay. So that brings us to the current day.
Yes.
You're working on a new collection. Is
Yes.
it done? Almost done?
Kind of sorta.
Are you tweaking it?
I've been,
slowly
Yeah,
getting
been-
into it. What's the collection called?
life is beautiful.
So is life beautiful for you right now?
Life is always beautiful. It's all based
Okay.
on perspective.
Okay. Are you an optimist or are you a pessimist?
I think I'm an optimist. The glass is half full, not half empty.
Okay. And you're also having a fashion show, right?
Fashion showcase. Yeah, it's called Sunday Best. I don't
Exciting.
want to say show. Like show sounds like it's a show. Now it's a showcase. We're showcasing new stuff. We're showcasing life is beautiful.
Okay.
Because life is genuinely beautiful. I
Okay.
think the moment you learn how to, like, your bad things will always happen.
Yeah, no matter what.
Like, no matter how you can have 60 plan A's or B's, like, life is always going to happen, dude. Like, shit's going to happen. So, I don't know. My journey has allowed me to really focus on the good.
Okay.
Focus on the good. Life is beautiful. Life is always beautiful.
So you're putting that perspective into the clothes now.
Yeah, that's where I am right now.
Sick.
Life
I love
is
it.
beautiful.
Okay. And then in closing, I want you to look into the camera and give advice to kids who are chasing their dreams out there. Like, what should they do? How should they feel? How should they think about the world and their place in it and how to chase their dreams?
Here's a catch. Before I go into that, here's a catch. What I want to tell you, unfortunately, can only relate to certain people. And what I want to tell you will only matter to certain people.
Why?
What I'm going to tell you will only make sense to certain people.
Okay.
Because everyone thinks what they're doing is right, which is the correct way to do things.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But to me, what I can really take from really interacting with a lot of people and younger people or older people, many of the great people I've met or many of the people doing great things have always, and I want to look in the camera for this, have always started things to prove it to themselves. It was never for money. It was never for social status.
So it's
It was never-
internal, not external.
Yeah, it was always to prove things to themselves. It was always, I want to work with you so that I can prove to myself that I can actually keep up
Do
with
that.
you,
Yeah.
even if you're not paying me.
Yeah.
And what I think is happening now, probably because of the digital age, everyone puts money first, which is completely fine. People are different, but you lack so many, you lose so many opportunities
Because
putting
you're
money
focused
first.
on money. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think.
But that's so hard to tell.
I know, but what I'm saying is don't put money first. Just follow what you need to do and the money will come. If you're really good at what you do, the money will come. You just should be obsessed with getting better. Don't get obsessed with money.
Get obsessed with getting better. Okay.
And progress is better than perfection. That's it.
Progress is better than perfection.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because when you're chasing perfection, I don't think you progress. You just so focus on it being perfect and you learning from why the last one wasn't better than the next. You just want this first one that you're going to do to be perfect. Okay. But you're not trying to just do it, and that you doing that is progress. So the next one that you do, you're going to progress further than the first one.
Yeah.
So basically what I'm saying is it's better to do than just do and release, rather
just
than
for the money.
Do and keep.
Yeah.
Just trying to perfect this one thing without knowing what you did wrong. So that's what I can say. Like, progress is better than perfection.
Okay. Dead is back. Besides the fashion show, well, I guess it never left.
We're keeping it 100.
What can people expect?
A lot, man. Dead Stocks Array still pulling up.
Yeah.
Viral Travel, same thing, just on a different level now. Have an architectural collab. So there's going to be one structure that's going to be built at all the pop-ups.
Sick.
The pop-ups are going to be at a very different location now.
Okay.
I don't want to say hopefully, but it's going to go according to plan. And every pop-up is going to have this one structure, which is the structure that we're carrying to the brand.
Okay.
And the collaboration is with All Works. Maybe I'm saying too much, but that's what it is. That's as much as I can go, but
yeah,
too many things. New watch pulling up, you already know.
Woo!
But
yeah,
that's what it is. That's all I can say for now.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your time.
Great chat,
I guess.
Great chat.
Thank you so very much. Let me close this, I guess. I'm so used to it. Thank you very much for tuning in to another episode of Dead Radio with your main man, E, and the guest, Bangy is Dead. Catch you on the next episode. Cool.
And you're live on Dead Radio.